agenda setting meeting of the Beaufort County Board of Education, the school board officers. It's February 5th, 2025. It's a remote conferencing meeting, and the meeting will be broadcast by the county channel. Officers include myself, Carlton Dallas, and Ingrid Boatwright. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion made, sir.
The motion from Carlton. I don't see
Ingrid's not on.
Ingrid's not on, so I will second the motion. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next item is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. You need to be careful.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the media has been notified.
Yes.
Media has been notified. I now need an approval of the agenda. It says January 22nd. It should read January 29th, 2025 committee meeting minutes.
Yes, so moved, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have, and I will second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And motion carries. All right, now we're setting the February 18th, 2025 board meeting agenda. And we'll put that up, this boilerplate up front. Again, it is at the Hilton Head Island Middle School, and that is to keep us at the 50-50 meetings north and south of the Broad. And we'll be back next month to having one meeting at the district office and the other meeting at Hilton Head Middle School. The executive session, we look at starting at 5 o'clock. Dr. Rodriguez, I see on the executive session, we have DESC Technology Warehouse. I assume that's a contract, and the DESC Phase 2. Is there anything else in executive session that we should be thinking about?
No, sir, not at this time.
Okay. All right. And let's see.
I think we'll have a student performance, but I don't know who yet.
Well, with that executive session, 5 o'clock, and we may have something pop up, but I don't see any reason to have it any earlier. And I don't think we should try to do it at 5:30. Any
I concur.
comments on that start time?
I concur.
Frank said he concur.
All right. Turn yours up.
Yep.
I can't turn mine up. Feedback. All right, 6 o'clock will be public session, and any action as appropriate. Approval of the agenda, pledge of allegiance, moment of silence. Student performance, you say we have some?
I think we have one.
Okay. We'll get that
Mhm.
and publish it when we have it down. Points of celebration, it was Student of the Month for North of the Broad and South of the Broad in January. Dr. Rodriguez, any other points of celebration?
No, sir, not at this time.
Okay, thank you. We'll then have public comments, chair report. I don't know if I can say anything. Committee reports. We'll have a finance committee. Carlton?
Yes, sir. We're going to have our first finance meeting under the new team on the 13th, currently scheduled for 2 p.m.
Okay.
So we'll be ready.
All right. And the operations committee will have met, so we can expect an operations committee report. Okay, we go to superintendent's report. Dr. Rodriguez, we have an academics program book.
That's correct. We have an academic program book, highlighted in terms of the Beaufort County School District and schools that are located. And then, in addition to that, we have a dual award per request of Ms. Boatwright.
What was that second part? It broke up the transmission.
The second part is there will be a dual enrollment report,
Oh, yeah.
which I believe was placed on future talks by Ms. Boatwright last night.
That's correct. That's correct. Sorry.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Anything else in the superintendent's report, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. And right now, we don't have any board business action scheduled. Consent agenda, we have the December board meeting minutes, January 7th board meeting minutes, and the January 31st board work session minutes. Future agenda topics. Could you put the future agenda topic piece up? Okay, we have correlation between two-parent and household and student outcomes at the work session. Review technology. The Stargate, $5 billion piece. What do you think we can talk about that?
Well, from what I understood at the meeting last night from Mr. Shahan, he spoke about that $5 billion Stargate piece and spoke about what the current status of that is. And it's not really applicable to schools at this juncture in time. So I think this was placed on here by Mr. Dallas. So I defer to Mr. Dallas in terms of whether he wants to leave it on there in case it develops into something, or whether he wants to remove it.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I will suggest let's just kick that can down the road a little bit. Politically, I hear that it's going to move very fast. The private sector is already talking about how to identify what segments of technology to spend the $5 billion on. And so my reason for raising it was just that as a school district, we're prepared in case they have an educational opening. And it looks like it will, if the president is successful in eliminating or reducing significantly the education department, that means it'll flow directly to the states, and we want to be prepared in how we could utilize those funds wherever that opening is. So I would just kick it down the road if that's okay with the three of you.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. We can leave it on there, and that way it'll be there. We'll be better positioned to move.
Okay, good. Safety update from Coy Gordon, and we'll schedule that for a March meeting. And how to evaluate and review internal processes as a board, Victor Ney. That sounds like a work session thing to me. What do you think, Carlton?
Yeah, I think that Mr. Ney is looking to drill a little bit deeper than a board meeting would allow. So I think that's prudent. We got a lot of new board members on, so they can be taught what the current processes are, and we can look if any edits or changes are needed going forward.
Right. Okay, review other governances for the board. That would be something that could be done at the retreat. That would be a good time. We've talked about coherent governance, and at the same time, we can talk about other options. So let's put that there. Board member stipends. Now that could come in March, I would think. So let's tentatively put that for the first meeting in March. And a discussion on how teachers are moved. Um, hmm,
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
um, I wonder if with the new communication protocols and the two new platforms that have been announced by Dr. Bruder today, if that doesn't help the communication to the board members and into the staff and what have you. And is this still necessary? Um, because as I understood it last night and what I read today, we will be getting this information and we can always send it to the superintendent or some designee in his staff. And maybe there's an opportunity to reinforce that when board members get those things, that we forward them to a central location in the administration. My concern is that how it is relayed from the receipt of the message to the public could result in a lot of fractured communication.
Agreed. Agreed. Okay, let's leave it on there, but let's not put a time in it right now. Let's see how things work out.
Thank you, sir.
With the new communication piece. Okay, any other future agenda topics?
I have two, if I may, for future consideration, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, so the first one, I think we discussed previously in 2024, teeing up the energy discussion and how to look at energy strategically, lowering the cost and the utilization. Another one that's more recent, I think, possibly for consideration, maybe at a work session, is what is the process for bringing in new curriculum offerings? So we have a one citizen who is very passionate about the area that he is promoting, and I definitely understand that and want to accommodate where it's appropriate. But is there an empirical way that we say we're getting all this anecdotal information that is to bring in a new program or new offering? Is there any empirical analysis that says we have like 500 people or 15% of the student population that wants this, so that when we make an addition, we know that there's already latent demand that's going to be satisfied when we put it on.
What do you think, Dr. Rodriguez?
Yeah, I think that you bring up an excellent point, and I think there is methodology in terms of how we bring in additional curriculum, but that's really typically curriculum in other sectors, and I think one of the things that you're suggesting in your statement is having some information about the demand
Yes.
around and an empirical analysis around it
Yes.
would be helpful with certain curriculums, especially in the elective areas around that. So that is something we could do. That is something we could definitely identify, whether it's through survey or anything like that, that would bring some data to the table for conversation.
Yes, that's it.
Could that be prepared and ready for us by the second meeting in March?
I think so.
Okay, so tentatively put it down for that, the second meeting in March.
So I think, Ms. Cushenberry, there were two items that I think Mr. Dallas brought forward. One item is on the energy consumption and usage, and then I think the other one is around analysis on how we bring in new curricular programs.
And then that way we wouldn't have a public person who has all the best intentions wouldn't feel if there's not sufficient demand, we would be buttressed by saying there's not quite yet enough people wanting it. And maybe that person would not be, feeling we're just giving them the stiff arm.
Yes.
I'll make sure we get this, correct for everybody. Energy cost. Discussion, okay, all from. Energy strategic cost. When do you think we could do the energy strategic, cost, Dr. Rodriguez?
Um, let's put that down for the second March meeting. And because I think what, Mr. Dallas, if you correct me, I think what you're asking for is an analysis of current, for example, energy costs, and then an exploration of potential new avenues to reduce energy costs.
Correct. And when we first reared it in the operations committee, reared the discussion, we actually were looking at third quarter because we thought it should include exploration of really new methods such as geothermal that's
Yeah.
actually taking place. And that would give the operations group time to really do a methodical review globally and nationally and see if any of those things might work for our school district.
Do you anticipate this item generating quite a bit of discussion? In other words, do you think it's best at a regular board meeting, or do you think it's best at the next work session?
I'm very comfortable at the next work session.
Okay.
I think we've, handled future agenda topics, announcements. I don't know what announcements, we'll have. We might have some announcements. And then the second public comments, and then adjournment.
William has his hand up.
Mr. Smith, you have your hand up?
You're muted.
Yes, I do. One of my concerns are as well too. Listening to this. How soon will we be starting to discuss the budget? Because I think the discussing the budget at with a more with a closer look and as soon as possible I think will be more feasible for all the board members in the community as well.
I think at the work session on Friday, Ms. Crosby laid out a budget calendar.
It's March 29th is the next date. It's our work session. So it will be at the March 29th work session.
Okay. Okay. But
We have a March and an April, so you discuss it at March 29th, and then we have another work session, budget work session, April 26th.
and when will they will be expecting to take the vote take the first vote on the budget?
It goes to the county council for their first reading, May 28th. The budget public forum for the community is May 1st and May 2nd. And the board certifies the budget May 21st.
Right, and that I just think that I'm looking for a more of a line item approach, and I think that's a discussion that we need to have. But I guess I'm going to think about it between now and the next meeting upon what I envision what that looks like, because I've had people who've been asking me some questions in terms of budget and what the budget is and how do we read how we approve it in different areas, and kind of some of what y'all were just talking about in terms of bringing different the different entities, and in terms of also fueling of other areas in terms of like the arts and different areas, and sports and academics, and how we kind of align some of that stuff. So uh, I've said a lot, so I'm just going to probably take to that. I'm going to take some time and to get it exactly where I want it, but I do want to express the fact that I think that we should be looking at the budget, because that is a part of our fiduciary responsibilities. Very with a more of a kaleidoscope approach leading up to that this decision making as much as possible. Thank you.
Right, noted. Are there any other issues?
None here.
Hearing none, we will adjourn by unanimous consent. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a good day.